we can't play games with ourselves. I see it in entrepreneurship, I see it in spirituality. Stop torturing yourself. If you actually don't want to do it, just take a break and trust that whatever comes will come. Once you're clear, no, I actually want it, then it doesn't matter what challenges or difficulties inevitably come up. You're clear on what you want. And every time I get in the car, I'm getting into road rage incidents and I'm yelling and I'm angry and I'm impatient. No, no, once I have peace, then I won't have this road rage anymore. I'm fooling myself.
You could have given up, but you didn't. You could have stopped believing, but you didn't. You could have kept living their expectations, but you decided to make this life your own. And in turn, you're here. Hello, everyone. Today we're meeting Arian Mateo. He is a psychologist, best-selling author, the creator of the awareness method, and a spiritual teacher. Hello, Mateo. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Anna. Pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. So let's start our conversation by diving into your journey of becoming the person you are today. What inspired you to find your passion in life? How did it start for you?
Yeah, so I became pretty successful financially at a relatively young age. When I was about 23, I achieved a lot of educational, financial, personal goals that I had at the time. I was like doing fitness modeling. I was dating really beautiful women. I was an engineer. I had a big coaching company that was in Scandinavia and Europe teaching. And uh, contrary to my belief, I thought I would be really happy when I achieved all those things, but it
Mm,
actually just exposed that it wasn't working for me. And I looked out onto the world and I was like, well, are people lying? Or maybe it works for some people, but it certainly, this didn't make me happy.
mm,
And I kind of panicked. I had like an existential crisis at age 23. And the only area that I hadn't really explored that much was spirituality and meditation. And I was a very skeptical person. I had a very skeptical mind around anything spiritual. I thought it was like
mhm,
weird and strange. And so it was with quite some resistance that I moved into that field of spirituality, but
mhm,
also I knew that I had tried everything out and I still wasn't satisfied. And that eventually led to like a 13-year journey. 3.5 years I was living on a mountain, mostly just spending time with myself, meditating, psychology degree, lots of inner work, meeting lots of interesting spiritual teachers, masters, therapists,
mhm.
lots of strange people along the way, and all of it somehow benefited to my journey of reaching this moment here with you.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot to take in. And I see that it's kind of like it was a pivotal moment at the age of 23 to come to this place to realize that, the external success that you seemingly had, wasn't enough to be fulfilled within yourself. So it
Mm.
was a missing link with your connection to who you truly are and really discovering that maybe for the first time even in your life, and your willingness to go deep within yourself to uncover what is it that you didn't know. And how was that journey of really rediscovering or finding the truth? um, like how did it uncover for you? So what was the step of like first accepting and realizing that there's more to life than we see externally?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It was really my authentic self was missing in it, and that's what I found. And obviously, my authentic self, as probably for many of us, had been missing most of my life. And I just tried to cover it over with material success. And in that moment, it was almost like I really got confronted with how it didn't work because now I
Mm,
couldn't even distract myself with, well, just more success, then I'll be happy. I had the
yeah.
success and it just confronted me more. And Yeah, I think it was a very painful journey at first because I started getting in touch with layers of pain, layers of hurt, of anger, of limiting beliefs that I had about myself that I just simply weren't conscious of before that.
Mhm.
So the first years, well, I mean, I did have a honeymoon period. As I
Mhm.
discovered meditation, I dove deep into meditation and I was practicing like 2 to 7 hours a day for 2.5 years. So that was my honeymoon period. I was
Mhm.
very blissed out, very at peace, but also very dissociated. Like if you met me, you would seem like this guy is walking around on a different planet.
Yeah.
And after that, when I finally realized, well, it's not about meditating myself away somewhere, it's about showing up more fully in an authentic way. That's when I started having to face a lot of my past that I hadn't had the courage or the resources to face before that. And it was a tough couple of years of very intense inner work until
Mhm.
it finally, at some point, maybe 5, 6 years ago, there was a definite shift, and I felt I had integrated both the best
Mhm.
of the material world and the best of the spiritual world. I brought it together.
Wow. Yeah, I think we have a lot of distractions, right, in our society, and we tend to find comfort into not really like being vulnerable with ourselves, to look deep within. So, because we know deep inside that it will be painful, it will be unpleasant to really like uncover all those layers that are buried, and we don't even we're not ready to step into that. But I think once the person is ready for change, they will find, like you mentioned, first you started meditating, right? So you started to create in that time, that space for yourself to become aware, to quiet your busy mind, right? And to go within. So I think the first step is for us to really being willing to change, to understand that it's not, fulfilling. There's more to what we know, and being curious and being ready to go further into the journey of self-discovery. But also, I know meditation has a lot of benefits, but what would you think, how would you describe it helped you personally? Like how do you see yourself before and after meditation? And if this is a tool that you would recommend people to start with, or if yes, how often they should do that?
That's a great question, Anna. There's been a lot of research on the area, and there is this idea that many of us have that meditation is just one thing. But actually, when we look into the types of meditation taught in the West, or even classically in the East or in the Middle Eastern spiritual traditions, there are many, many, many different types of meditation, and they actually all have many different effects. So
Mhm.
it actually has a huge impact what type of meditation we are doing. Some types of meditation can make us very ungrounded. They can bring like a sense of expansion, but we become quite ungrounded. So if you're an entrepreneur, for example, and you want to stay grounded in 3D reality and have a
Mhm.
business, or if you have a family, those types of meditation might not be very practical. They might be good for
Yeah.
someone who is like a monk or a nun living on a mountain. So it really depends on, we should look at what are my goals with meditation, and then look at what types of meditation might be good. Andrew Huberman has a great episode on meditation where he kind of touches in on these different types of meditation and what
Mhm.
might be appropriate. So I've trained with many different styles of meditation. Um, the style I practice now is more just opening. It's working a lot with the heart. So whatever I face in my life, I try to open and meet it with vulnerability, with a naked heart. um, of course, that brings tremendous liberation, and you kind of learn to navigate in all kinds of situations, business, relationships, sitting alone, drinking tea.
Mhm.
But it can also be a very confrontational style of meditation because when you're meeting everything nakedly, it brings you see a lot of stuff about yourself. And some of it you
Mhm.
might like, and some of it you might not like to see. But I think in whole, the main jewel that I've taken away from all my meditation practice is not even the peace and the calmness of which I feel pretty stabilized in, but it's the love. It's the ability to have compassion for myself and compassion for my fellow human beings more and more and more. I'm not perfect at it, but just that increased ability that keeps growing. It's really, I mean, we all seek love, and when we listen to the songs on the radio, it strikes me how many songs are about love and heartbreak. And so I think it really speaks to humanity as a whole, this desire for love. And when we start finding that within, it's really a powerful thing, whether we're an entrepreneur or a family mom or whatever we're dealing with, that love really brings a lot of wisdom and ease to life.
Yes, definitely. And I think based on our experiences in life, we tend to build that wall, right? We don't allow ourselves to go, like you said, and open our heart and be vulnerable. We afraid to expose ourselves because perhaps we've been hurt in the past. We associated with some kind of pain or trauma, right? And this first step to really like being able to do that, I think will, start the healing process because if we allow ourselves to feel first, like all those emotions that come up to the surface, right? They are requiring our love and attention to really accept them for what they are, not judging them, right? Not putting yourself down, not really like speaking negatively to yourself, but first having that self-compassion, self-care, and self-love that's been, cultivated. That will require some time for you to really like integrate and help yourself heal in order to start loving other people as a result of it, don't you think?
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. I think we can only love others to the degree that we've come into a kind of self-compassion with ourselves. And, you know, many of us suffer from trauma, all kinds of developmental traumas, shocking traumas growing up, societal traumas, even society, especially in the West, is not necessarily very attuned to walking around with an open heart. Its priorities are
Yeah.
often more materialistic, which has benefits. There are no right and wrongs. But so many of us end with a kind of heart wound, like our heart
Mm,
hasn't felt met growing up. We haven't felt met in our authentic, childlike, divine
mm,
expression. And so it is, as you start opening, there can be a lot of fears from the past. There can be a lot of hurts from the past. And that is part of the journey and it can be difficult. But truly, I mean, the heart really is the jewel, and this comes from someone who I was living so much in my mind. I was one of the
mm,
angriest people I knew. So it's taken me a lot of time to get to this. And really, if you have your own heart, um, you're so wealthy. You see, you are
mm,
already so wealthy, and then how you express that wealth can look like a million ways. It might look like being a very actually disciplined entrepreneur who is building things and trying to serve others. It might look like just having a tea house and you sit and drink tea all day, and that's your
mm.
passion. But you have this inner abundance already within. Your cup is full, and it can start spilling over into what you do.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I think with us really understanding that we should cultivate self-love and start small and just getting into the habit of creating that space for ourselves where we feel safe to open up, to let ourselves feel and go deeper each time and see that what it could uncover for us. And this healing process, I think, is just, we have to understand that it's uncomfortable or unpleasant as we go into that, but in the long term, it liberates us. We start feeling so much better and free. And then it's like self-empowerment in a way if we do that. But it takes courage. And not everyone is ready for it, or perhaps they didn't arrive to a certain point in their life journey where they have no other choice sometimes, it
Yes.
requires them to just break their heart in a way. And it's also, I think, it has its own purpose. Sometimes we don't understand as we go through different experiences, but uh, everything is so purposely, created, I would say. And it's like there is no avoidance of that. One way or another, you're going to look into your heart. And the question is if you're going to be aware of it now or along the way with certain, opportunities that come your way, or maybe people that you meet. It's just very uniquely to you. And we need to like embrace our own personal journey and not comparing ourselves to other people too, because I think it also gets in the way when we're distracting ourselves by looking, social media and what's around, right? And we think this is how it should be for everybody, but it's not the case. And what's true for you, you kind of like intuitively start feeling it as you go. I think when you come into alignment with your true self, the more intuition start developing, and the more you start kind of like better navigate yourself through life. Is that true?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think definitely you said many of us build walls and stuff, and I've always
Mm-hmm.
found that kind of sad, like, because how I view it, as we get older, there is a possibility of letting go more and more. Instead of becoming
Yeah.
more and more bitter and locked in, we can be wiser, certainly, and more discerning.
Mm-hmm.
Of
Right.
course, because painful things happen in life, but also, why not become more childlike? Why not become
Yeah.
lighter in how we approach life, and be a shining example to the younger generations that, yeah, life is tough and it's painful, and there's betrayals and there is sickness and there's loss and gain, and there is a joy, there is a cosmic humor, a lightness
Yeah,
that can be held in all of it.
definitely. And yes, we have to also know the responsibility not only for ourselves, but for younger generation to come. And we can be that role model. We can show them how the life can be approached from a different perspective, and like this childlike, look on life is what really helps us to navigate it more easily and not be so defending in a way, because everything that happens is for your own growth and development. If you think about it, even if it seems like it's something painful or like a hardship that you're going through, certain adversity in life, you're going to be stronger on the other side of it. So pretty much, if you just like approach it from a different perspective, knowing going in that you will become better because of it, no matter what it is. You don't have to be so hard on yourself, but really like start utilizing those tools to help yourself go through it with ease and not so much of a disappointment or maybe expectations of what you think or how you think it should be, right? Because a lot of times if our expectation not met, we tend to really blame ourselves or others or become this victim of circumstances. But it's all up to us how we choose to look at it.
Absolutely, absolutely agree. And that's a very mature and empowering perspective. And I just want to add, like, to the people who maybe don't yet have They feel like, oh, I just don't have that access to my heart, and I try, it doesn't really connect. Uh, of course, finding a good therapist or a friend or a loved one, the relational element can help a lot. Someone you trust, if you can start opening up, that can help.
Yeah.
And you can do it even in small ways. So try opening up in small ways during your everyday life. It doesn't have to be big ways. So and try daring to smile when you're walking down the street. If
Mm.
normally it feels maybe a little bit edgy or
Mm.
vulnerable. I mean, I spent a lot of time in Asia where it's much more normal. I remember being in New York.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same culture, but we can start daring because we're all human and we all respond. And even if people don't respond to you, you are starting to open up some of those walls tiny bit. Try to find tiny moments of gratitude, like just small moments of gratitude, real gratitude. You don't have to fake it throughout the day. And then view your heart almost like a garden. Each time you cultivate some of these qualities of the heart, gratitude, joy, love, compassion, warmth, you are pouring a little bit of water in that garden. You're putting a little bit of
Yeah.
sunshine, and slowly but surely, you will see that you have a flourishing garden. But it takes time, and patience is also a heart quality.
Yes, definitely. And those moments of joy and loving kindness, like when you're sharing something with people or just like giving them compliments, like people you see in your daily life, right? Or somebody you just call and ask them how they feeling, like really shown that bringing that attention to what matters and asking people how they are. I think everything, all those small things, they just add up and it gives you this sense of feeling good, and it's not just because it's not just all about you, but also you radiating this light when you interact with other people and you pretty much uplift them in one way or another, and you see how they change. They can start smiling, they can start sharing with you, and they can really like feel recognized, they feel seen, they feel heard, and that's something that may be missing in their lives, and you are the one bringing that to them, right? And you are being this
Absolutely.
person, and I feel like when me personally, when I'm doing that, it just uplifts me as a result of doing that. It's kind of like works both way, because in a way we are connected with one another. So whatever we do in terms of service to other people, it will indirectly comes back to us too, and we will feel that.
Absolutely. And I've tend to underestimate sometimes in my life the impact we can have on others in the smallest things. But I've had days where I felt really down and low and things were tough, and someone might even smile at me, and I don't even have time to smile back because I'm so in my
Mm,
head. But then after they pass by, even though I couldn't give him the smile back,
yeah.
I noticed, wow, that really had an impact on me, and it just changed my mind state. And we don't know what's going on for people, and sometimes just giving someone a little bit of friendliness, letting them kind of get the way ahead of us on the road, or just a simple hi or a small have a nice day can make an impact that we can't even imagine.
Right. And we shouldn't underestimate how much of an impact it could be for another person. It doesn't have to be big. Could be as
Mhm.
small as just asking a person how they feeling and how they day going. Or, like giving like a small compliment or something. But, it doesn't have to be you don't have to pretend. You can just share what you feel like you want to share, right? You don't have to like push yourself too hard doing that. But the more you do, the more practice of it as you develop doing that all the time, it becomes easier. It's like your second nature. You don't even think about it. And it's just who you are, right?
Yes, and the bonuses, as you were touching on, you're actually training your mind to look for the good in people. So the
Mm.
the secondary the huge benefit you get is that now you have a mind that's trained to look for the good. And of course, when that mind turns its attention on you, it has more training to also focus on the good instead of finding faults.
Yes, definitely. It's all about like how we train our mind and what we are focusing on. So it's all up to us. Are we focusing on good or on the bad? So you have that choice. Sometimes, the more choices or options we have, sometimes it could be also distracting for us, and we don't know what to focus on. But again, like, we have to tune in of how it feels for you, really. Does it feel good for you? Continue doing what you're doing, or perhaps you should maybe change something in your approach to life and see for yourself. You have to experience that as a feeling. How does it feel?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I know you are the creator of the awareness method, and I just
Mhm.
want to touch upon the pillars or perhaps principles that um, are combined in that method, and what we should really like pay attention to in order to bring the awareness to life.
Yes. So the awareness method is really a combination of all the areas that think are necessary in a fulfilled human life. So there is the purpose, the fulfillment area, that is step three. There is the healing and integrating, that is step two. And there is the meditative or awareness aspect, which is step one. So, so step one is creating awareness. Step two is making the subconscious conscious. So that's how
Mhm.
we integrate different blocks, different limiting beliefs, different past hurts. And I think, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs also, and sometimes we underestimate the impact of how childhood wounds they affect everything. They
Yeah.
color how we deal with business, our employees. They affect how we deal with challenges, obstacles. Do I just get angry and pissed? Do I kind of detach from my emotions? So as we make the subconscious conscious, we're building resources in our nervous system. We're having basically, a liberated nervous system is a nervous system that has tremendous amount of options and choices in a given situation. So instead of feeling locked when I meet a challenge, I have a wide array of options, and I have the awareness and space to very quickly, it's not like it has to be slow, to think about what could be the best option here. What's the most
Mhm.
skillful option? Sometimes you got to be fierce, right? You got to be fierce and meet it head on. Sometimes you just need to sit back and give it a day. So to
Mhm.
have those options gives us a lot of power. So step two makes the subconscious conscious. So we have more nervous system options. And in the last step, we follow our heart. So it's purpose and fulfillment, but heart-based purpose. Not
Mhm.
just because I learned that I have to make a certain amount of income per year or something like that, because then we get on the rat race. And if the goal of anything we do is ultimately contentment, happiness, and peace, then I hold this idea that it should give us peace and contentment also while we're doing it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I am training a state of stress and pushing with the promise that it's going to give me happiness in 10 years or in
Mhm.
5 years. So once I reach my goal, even if I reach it, I have a nervous system that's been trained to be in a state of stress and lack.
Mhm.
So we fix that by following our heart. I believe that each heart has a purpose, has a passion, has a service to give to this world, has certain talents. And when we follow that, there is this natural flow, there is this natural happiness and contentment in the moment while I'm still pursuing my goals. Nothing wrong with having goals, it makes us
Mhm.
effective. And I don't have to wait to reach my goals before I get to be happy. And I don't have to push and motivate myself because I'm already motivated intrinsically. So
Mhm.
that's kind of the nutshell, the three steps of the awareness method. And the goal of it is to have both inner freedom, which to me represents a state of equanimity, peace, contentment, and outer freedom, which represents being able to do whatever I want when I want it in the way that feels good and nice for me in the world.
Wow. Yes, and definitely encompasses all of the areas. And like you mentioned, a lot of times with the certain goals that we set for ourselves, we like very stressed and we're pushing ourselves to the point where we really don't feel good in our bodies, and we tend to like burn out, and even have mental health issues, and we really overwork ourselves and not giving ourselves this deserved time and attention to be with our feelings, to really like slow down and give our space to process the emotion and heal. And that's also important part of our daily practice that should be integrated, because otherwise, you know it's just like, what is the point of us pushing too hard if we feel miserable here right now every single day until we think we reach that point that could be in like 10 years, right? So we have to learn how to do it with a heart-centered approach so we can enjoy this journey as we go along towards the goal that we have. So we need to know the direction, really like be clear on what is it that we want in life, right?
Yes.
And that's something that everybody should kind of like become familiar with their own passion and their own direction in life and where they head into. And then the steps is just like more um kind of like a technical approach. What is it that you should do, and how you should do it is coming back to connecting with our heart and giving ourselves this space to be heart centered at all times as much as we can. Again, not like beating ourselves up for not making it perfectly, because it will never be perfect, right? We
Mhm.
are perfectly imperfect beings, and that's okay. We have to just embrace that and not like having certain expectations of us. Because I know what perfectionism is. I used to struggle with it myself. And I know how people can be hard on themselves, can be self critical, right? In the journey once they go on towards their goals. But really, having different approach and slowing down sometimes, I think it helps to find your center, that equanimity that you're talking about, peace, joy, um, is very crucial for us to really kind of like take that in, to feel that power. And with more of that, we just become more confident and going to accomplish what we want in life more easily with less perhaps effort you know that we need, comparing to not heart-centered approach. And
Mhm.
yeah, I just want you to let me know, like, is there any other perhaps tools that help you to come to that equanimity apart from meditation? And what is it that we can cultivate as a habit on a daily basis to bring the awareness to our life and remind ourselves every single day that, this is the important piece that we should focus on?
Yes. I love that question. And I want to touch on something beautiful you said. You said we should ask ourselves, what is it I'm trying to get? And I think that's such a powerful and important question in life because how I see it, we're always in anything we do, we're reaching for an end state, right? If I want to make a
Mm,
bunch of money, I don't actually want the money. What I want is the feeling of freedom or expansion or comfort or
right.
security that I imagine that will give me. If I want to be a part of a large community, I want a sense of belonging, support, etc. So we should ask ourselves this question much more. That's my view on it. And
Mm,
that in itself can be a powerful tool because once I have clarity on what I want,
right.
then I have a kind of compass and I can take that compass and check. my actions in
Mm.
my life and see if they're actually fitting. So if I say, well, I want peace, I want a life of peace, and every time I get in the car, I'm getting into road rage incidents and I'm yelling and I'm angry and I'm impatient, that tells me my behaviors are not really aligned with what I want. And if I tell myself, no, no, once I have peace, then I won't have this road rage anymore, I'm fooling myself.
Yeah.
So it can be so powerful to look at what is my end state that I want to achieve. Now,
Mm.
I might want to achieve a state of peace, and well, all right, my way to get there is meditation. And when I sit and meditate, I don't feel peace, right? I just notice a lot of thoughts. I'm spinning. It's even more
Yeah.
distracting. That's okay. At least I'm taking actions that eventually I have faith are going to get me towards a state of peace. But just to check that there's alignment between my values and what I'm
Mhm.
doing in and of itself is such a powerful practice.
Yes, and the reminding ourselves of what we want and how we want to feel is something that we overlook. And for some reason, we don't consider that's important. And we tend to distract ourselves with what's not important. And we just sometimes doing something in life and we don't even know why we're doing that. Like we just need to pause, like stop and quietly just be with that feeling of what is going on in your life currently, where are you at, and are you happy with that? Is it something that you want to continue bringing into your life? And if the answer is no, that something has to change.
Yes. And that takes courage, as you said it, that
Yeah.
takes courage and faith that stepping into the fire. So I would say, as another mindset and attitude, we can't play games with ourselves. I see it in entrepreneurship, I see it in spirituality. Many times there's a part of us that just wants to take some actions, not really to be successful, not really to build a business or create an income or create freedom or to attain peace, but just almost like a child who's trying to appease their parent, like, oh, I did something. Now I feel a good feeling.
Mm.
So we got to bring this fierce honesty to ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
we got to really want it. And if you don't want to build a business, for example, I think it's so much more powerful. Just don't pretend that you want to. Stop torturing yourself. If you actually don't want to do it, just take a break and trust that whatever comes will come, because then you can be clear in your actions. And that
Yeah.
gives courage. That gives you that courage. Once you're clear, no, I actually want it, then it doesn't matter what challenges or difficulties inevitably come up. You're clear on what you want and you can
Mm.
find the resources to move forward. But if you're kind of half-assing it and, oh, I kind of want it because I want to impress some people or I want to prove to myself something, it's more egoically driven. You're going to play these games of going back and forth and do I really? And so that weakens our energy system, that weakens our
Mm.
clarity. So clarity, clarity, clarity. It's so powerful.
Yes, the more clear we are, the more efficient we focus our energy on what we can bring out to life to serve others.
Yes,
And I think um, we just need to be honest with ourselves and stop pretending. And yeah, it's your life. Don't try to impress anybody.
yes.
A lot of times people just even don't care what you do. And with you thinking that they would care, it's you wasting your time and energy on something that is not important.
100%. I remember I heard this very powerful counterintuitive saying. It was a woman, she was saying, nobody cares. And it's just so
Mm.
powerful, right? Because
Yeah.
often we say, well, everybody cares and it's nice. That can be powerful too, but just nobody cares. Nobody
Yeah.
cares whether you get out of bed and do the thing you intend to do or not. But you are gonna feel the effects of whether you do it or
Mm.
don't.
Right. Yeah. And with us really being honest and understanding that nobody cares and it's our life and it's up to me what I want. in my life, and it's okay if it's not what so and so does. You don't have to compare yourself, right? You have your own unique journey and something that you feel you want to do. And what is it that you're passionate about, right? Maybe you could start like as a hobby, as a creative project. What is the channel of, where you can bring that creation to life, and how can you focus your energy on really like being that inner artist. Like you have to you have to create the space where you let that inner artist create, and not holding that energy within, because the suppressed passion could turn into anger, right? If you don't express it, you have to find a way to express yourself authentically. Really, what is it that you want to do? Doesn't matter what so and so think about you or how they look at you. You can't please everybody. It's just impossible. There are haters, there are a lot of like people who would like what you do and people who would hate it in the end, or like, or indifferent. Doesn't matter. You don't have to think about it even. You can just eliminate that from your thought process. Just
Yes.
focus on what brings you joy and fulfillment. That's all. And it's not about being selfish, really. I think it's important for us to uncover the truth.
Absolutely. And to really hammer in the point you just made, even the Dalai Lama has a hate page. So
Yeah.
you really cannot please everyone.
Yeah, it's like just impossible. And if we accept it as the way it shouldn't disappoint us in any way. So, so what? Somebody doesn't like it. So what, right? You can
And
move
sometimes
on.
and sometimes maybe it hurts or we feel a little bit sad, but even that can be used as an opportunity to deepen our expansion, our self-love, our self-support. So in a way, our so-called enemies are actually our gurus and are they're helping us grow more strength and grow
Yeah.
more resilience.
Right. Every opportunity can turn, in every everybody you meet, every type of experience can be turned into your opportunity for growth, and it's again how you look at it. And I think it starts with awareness, as you mentioned in your the awareness
Method.
method that you
Yeah.
created. It's number one step with us to eliminate distractions, become aware, become mindful, and clarity. From that point on, we can just be empowered with our choices, be more discerning, knowing what we want, and the way we approach life could change for our own benefit and growth. And I think we just need to start with being more open, more honest with ourselves, and really giving ourselves that space to be vulnerable and open up and share how we feel, our emotions, and process them as well, because it's also part of healing and it never ends, really. Like, it's not like like you feel like one day it's gonna stop. It will continue. It's just you will kind of like evolve to a next level of your being, I would say. But it's just like part of the process of you being a human being. Everybody's going through that in one way or another, but you have your unique way of perceiving this life, right? Having your own experiences, and you are whole as you are. You're never broken.
Absolutely. And I think we're all on the journey of knowing that more and more in our whole being and living more and more from that so that we can radiate that wholeness in more and more of our interactions and benefit more and more people just through our presence, you know. We're very intuitive.
Yeah.
We pick up on each other's emotional, energetic states. So when we do the work for ourselves, we're radiating to everybody else. We don't even have to actually say things. Just for our presence, we're radiating
Right.
that energy.
Yes, everybody's here for a reason. Your presence alone means you are worthy of being here, because sometimes people struggle with self-worth and they don't see the reason of them being here, but just your presence, the fact that you are here means that you are worthy. That's all you need to know. You don't need to prove yourself to anybody.
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter what trauma we've had. Maybe we had tough childhood or upbringing. As you say, the universe itself has chosen us, right?
Yeah,
Because of our mere existence.
right. And I'm so glad we had this conversation today. For those who would like to connect with you online, how can they find you?
Yeah, you can go to arianmateo.com. I do group work and I also do individual work. It's a mixture of coaching, psychology, spirituality. And if you want to learn more about the awareness method, there's the awarenessmethod.org. And I also have several books on Amazon. So, just Google me. You'll find a lot of stuff.
All right. And as we close today, what would be the final thought for our listeners?
The final thought would be just as much as you can, see if you can open to that love, to that beauty, to that warmth within your hearts, because I've searched high and low. I've had highest of experiences when it comes to the material world. I've had highest of experiences when it comes to the spiritual world. And in the end, I just keep coming back to the simplicity of love and to that warmth in the heart. That seems to really be the jewel of being a human being.
Yes, thank you. I hope you enjoy your day.
Thank you so much, Anna. Lovely to be
Thank
with you.
you. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, hit the subscribe button and share it with others. Stay tuned.